Hello world, good morning and welcome back. Today I'm so excited to have David, who is the founder of the Lanyap group, here with me. But you actually have so many things, so many different components in your entrepreneurial profile and journey. So I think we're gonna have a really fascinating conversation. But I thought we could start right in talking about the Lanyap group because what you do is branding. And I know that's something that entrepreneurs, we always need to learn more about branding and
Right.
marketing.
Absolutely. So that's a lot of my background was on the communication and the graphic design side. And for those listening, I know Lanyap, we can start there. That's kind of a different word that most people aren't familiar with. And I'm
Is this a
originally from,
Texas thing?
no, it's close, couple of
Okay.
miles to the east, but it's actually a South Louisiana thing. And that's where I was
Hmm.
born. And so lagniappe is a Cajun French word, and the real spelling has G's and P's and letters that don't need to be there. But essentially, it means a little something extra. It's like if you go to a restaurant, you get ready to leave, and the waiter brings you a piece of cake and he says, "Hey, it's a new recipe. Try it. It's on the house." The way that that makes you feel because it's intentional and you got more than what you expected, I've always loved that feeling because I think that
Hmm.
that's something that entrepreneurs, business owners, everybody can do more of. It just takes being intentional. So when we started the Lanyap group, it was all around the brand focus, how to tell somebody's story creatively. And that's what we've done for the last 2 years or so. And here recently, we've kind of pivoted a bit, still in the brand, still in the brand family, but our focus is really on entrepreneurs and founders, helping them to tell their story creatively. So
Hmm.
what do you do? Who do you do it for? And by what do you do, we don't mean services. I mean the things that make you answer an email at 11 o'clock at night, understanding your why so that you can effectively communicate what you do. And so we've really kind of taken all of that and we've created a 4-week course that entrepreneurs go through. And it's compartmentalized deep dives into what do you do? Let's start with your why. Who is your audience? How do you really connect with your audience? How do you make sure that that translates into your website, your social, your marketing presence, all of that kind of stuff? So still within the brand family, but it's a lot more of the deep dive into really helping entrepreneurs understand why they do what they do.
That sounds really fascinating. I'm curious to hear even what happens when entrepreneurs go through that process because it almost sounds like you're taking them through a kind of almost business soul searching of sorts, really getting down into the deep of who they are and what they're here to do on this planet, essentially. I'm curious to hear
Absolutely.
even more about what happens entrepreneurs who go through your process.
You got it. So when I started full time with the Lanyap group, I wanted to immerse myself in the Dallas startup ecosystem. So I run the Dallas version of an event called Founders Live, which happens once a month. 5 companies get 99 seconds to pitch, 4 minutes of crowd Q&A, 99 seconds, 4 minutes, and the crowd votes on a winner. And what you would continue to see is it's just rookie mistakes that a lot of these founders would make, especially if it's a technology heavy company. As soon as the timer starts, they're a mile deep in the technology. Everybody in the audience has no idea what they're doing, no idea what problem they're solving. They're talking industry specific jargon that the majority of the audience can't follow. All of that kind of thing. Or they start, like we said earlier, with, "Hi, I'm David. I do this, this, and this services." But at the end of the day, people don't care about that. They want to connect with you. So it's really showing them how to use that 99 seconds to tell a story. Tell a story that makes the audience care, because that's the essence of everything. Even Walmart doesn't say we sell eggs and golf balls and tomatoes. They tell a story. And so that's really what we do with them. And like you mentioned, what is it like for the average entrepreneur to go through? They're so good at what they do, building their business. We do it, like I said, each week during a 4-week process where we don't overload them. Week 1 is strictly about understanding your why and understanding brand equity. That's it. So we can do deep dives on those 2 topics so that by the time that they finish the 4 weeks, it's not overloaded, but they've done real deep dives on understanding not only what their business is now, but in 5 years, where do they want to be? How do they attract people and resources and talent that are on board with that and think the same things that they think and want to join their cause because they're all shooting for the same place. Outside of just saying, we do web design or we do SEO, it's bigger than that. How do you effectively communicate it?
That sounds wonderful. Now I have to ask you though, so what is your why? What is it that drives you at this really deep level to do what it is you're doing?
Yeah, so Founders Life has really opened my eyes to that. And I've always loved the entrepreneurial spirit and everything. I remember, riding in the car with my parents when I was a kid, and we would go to a bookstore and I would just read Forbes and Inc. magazine and Fast Company and all these companies that were doing really unbelievable things. And so our why is we want to empower 10,000 entrepreneurs by 2025 to live out the business that they dream of. That, whether that's going through our course, whether that's hearing us speak, whether that's an email that happens to resonate with them to make them think a different way, or to hang in there with the ups and downs of running a business. We want to help empower and showcase and share everything that we've learned throughout the course of our career into what it takes to keep going and building something great.
So can you tell us a story of how that happens for an entrepreneur? How someone comes out more empowered?
Sure. So whenever you start, like we said, you're really good in one or two areas, whether that's technology or cooking or fitness, whatever that is that you're building your business around. You're really knowledgeable there. But just like everything else, there are a lot of areas that you need help in. Whether that's, even for us right now, I'm not a CPA, so I have to hire somebody that's really good at that to help me make wise financial decisions. So it's a lot of the same types of things. So as they go through, it becomes really crystal clear where they're going, how they're going to get there, who their target audience is. We, in one of our modules, when we talk about our audience, we kind of take some things from even what Jeff Bezos used to do the early days of Amazon, where being super intentional about who your customer is, even things of when you and your team are sitting around your conference table and you're talking about your marketing strategies, your email, the product launch in January, leave a seat open and make that person, let's call them Charles. Charles is your perfect customer. Leave that seat open for Charles. So as you're going around the table and everybody's talking about the new things and the new bells and whistles and the new deliverables, eventually you'll get around the table to Charles. What is Charles, your perfect customer? What is he worried about? Can he afford it? What is he thinking right now? So that every decision you're making, you have to be intentional with him. You're no longer talking service, the things that we're great at. Talk to Charles. So it's just being intentional and making every single decision with their best interest in mind.
I love this idea of creating a seat at the table for your customer. Is
Yeah.
Charles your customer?
So yes, that's the name that we've given to ours. Charles is the entrepreneur that has left corporate America that wants to do their own thing. They are struggling to make ends meet as they're going. They don't know if they need to get some venture capital. Should they just focus on making more sales? They have a lot of things going on. And we want to make the brand messaging part uber clear for them. In 4 weeks, we want them to come out of it saying, I absolutely know why I do what I do, who my audience is. I know how to attract talent for where we're going, all of that kind of thing. Because with events like Founders Live, every month we have somebody that comes up after and says, do you know anybody in the venture capital world that we can get in front of? And 90% of the time, they're not ready for that yet. So how can we help make them more prepared? And this is what we're really good at. So that's where we start. So by the time they finish going through that process with us, they have a whole different mindset and philosophy based on why they're doing it, who they're doing it for, and how that's going to impact their business going forward.
It's something I see a lot too. A lot of companies where it's almost like the first thing they think they need is venture capital, when really
Right.
that's something that's so far down the process. What's your sense of the things that entrepreneurs really should prepare before they start to seek out funding?
Yeah, you're right. It does almost kind of feel like I think it's kind of been over glamorized a little bit. Everybody thinks that that's the end game. It's like, let's get funding and then we've made it, but to me, it's making something part of a bigger cause. making it to where you have your North Star and then you reverse engineer everything on the way to get there. It's having that sound business plan that really crystal clear everything. In 5 years, what does your office look like? The people that are coming in to work for you, what do they look like? What do they do? What's hanging on your walls? Super crystal clear, because the more clear you can make it, everything else in your business aligns with that. And it helps you make better decisions. Should I partner with these people or with these people or not at all? Do they align with my North Star? Yes or no? It just makes everything easier. So should venture capital happen to be part of your roadmap? Great. But maybe it's not. Maybe you just need to go make more sales.
I love even that you're putting out these different options, and the image of the North Star, that absolutely speaks to me. That's one that I've personally always had, the importance of having a bigger purpose, a bigger mission, and then having the image of the North Star. That one has always really resonated with me. Unfortunately,
Right.
we're already almost even out of time, but let people know if they're interested to find out more about you, what you offer, how you can help
Sure.
them with branding, about Founders Live in Dallas. Tell people
Awesome.
how they can find out more.
Absolutely. So you can find us online at thelanyapgroup.com, and that's Lanyap, the way that it sounds, luckily not the way that it's spelled. Um, and if you are in Dallas, definitely feel free to come to a Founders Live event. We have them at the end of every single month, 99 seconds, 4 minutes of Q&A, and it's fantastic. The crowd votes on a winner. It's a networking event unlike anything that you've been to before. It's very casual, upbeat, but the entrepreneurial world is just amazing. And that's why I fell in love with it. Everybody is genuinely trying to help everyone else. It's real relationships and it's fantastic. And thank you again so much for the opportunity today. It was great.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much.
Heck yeah.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you all next time.
Bye. One of my favorite things is the JFK and the janitor story. And every time that I speak, I tell that because it just makes it so clear. Early
Hey,
60s.
wait. Can you just say it really quick, and maybe we can make this like a little Easter egg? This can be my lanyap. It can be my little something
That's
extra.
it. That's it.
All right, so tell me the JFK and the janitor story.
1961, we're trying to get to, it's an arms race to get into space. We're feel like we're behind. So Kennedy goes and he does this whole speech in front of Congress, and he says, by the end of the decade, we're going to successfully put somebody on the moon and bring them back safely to Earth. So super clear parameters. There's no gray area, very black and white. Later on that same year, he comes back to the NASA headquarters in Houston. He's walking to a meeting and he sees a janitor. He walks up to him and says, "Hey, I'm John. Tell me, what do you do around here?" And I pause and I ask, "What do you think the janitor said?" And everybody in the room always says, "Oh, well, I mop the floors, I clean the toilets, whatever." The janitor said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." To me, that's powerful because the guy that's probably the lowest man on the totem pole is so bought into the end goal, the North Star, that he doesn't just come there to clean toilets. He's helping in his way to put a man on the moon by making sure that his job is done to that level. And I think that's fantastic. If you can establish that really crystal clear, then you attract people that want to do what you want to do.
That's a beautiful story. It's just even a beautiful story for how we should all, as entrepreneurs, think about team building. These are the people we want on our teams. We want the people that buy in at every single level.
Right.
That's beautiful.
It's not just a paycheck, not just a place to go during the day, but everybody's a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that's fantastic.
Thanks for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe, review, and share this show. If you'd like exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insight, for just $4 a month, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com. Now, go make it a great day.